Powder pink is having a moment this year, and in this video I'm going to show you how to style it. Powder pink is definitely one of the trend colours of 2025, but like with any trend colour, it can feel really difficult to know how to add it to your wardrobe, what kind of version of it you should go for. Is it going to end up hanging in your wardrobe unloved with the tag still on, or is it going to be one of your wardrobe heroes for this year? So at Kettlewell, we divide all of our colours into 4 seasonal palettes. You've got the spring palette, which is light and bright and airy and breezy and warm toned. The summer palette is cool toned, it's soft, it's smoky, it's muted. The autumn palette is rich and warm and deep and earthy. And then the winter palette is really vibrant, high contrast with lots of extremes of light and dark. Now, if you look at those 4 palettes, you'll probably kind of immediately identify with one in your wardrobe, and choosing a version of a colour that you know suits you and that's going to sit with the rest of your wardrobe is the best way to access a trend colour and make sure it's going to get good use. So let's look at some examples from each palette and how you can style them to work in your wardrobe. If you're building an outfit with this version of powder pink, then pairing it with some of this season's really trending colours, like that kind of chocolate brown and toffee brown shades, will work really, really well. But if you love a more classic look, it pairs brilliantly with denim, and also with bolder, stronger versions of pink that also set in that vibrant spring palette can work really well as well. So the summer palette is cool toned, it's soft, it's smoky, it's full of denim blues and soft greys, and this is the palette that powder pink was really made for. Your best version of powder pink is kind of slightly lilac or mauve toned. It's always almost got like a slightly purplish or greyish wash to it. I think it's what we really think of when we think of powder pink. It's so often this version of it where it's got that kind of soft muted tone. It is going to pair amazingly with classic denim, but also with the summer palette's deeper blues, those kind of soft bluish greys. The summer palette has a lot of purple in it as well. All of these are going to work so well with that powder pink. You can also do things like, if you've got burgundy on your wardrobe, it was a massive feature of autumn winter trends, then it's going to work really, really well with powder pink as well. Okay, the autumn palette is perhaps the one where powder pink feels least obviously at home. It is a palette full of deep, rich, muted tones, and it's not one that feels kind of light and fluffy and powder pinkish. However, you can still access this trend in the autumn palette. So I'm actually in autumn and I'm wearing one version of powder pink for me, which is probably as light and soft as I would go. And it's really got almost a clay tone to it. So it's got that yellowness that the spring palette had. It's got that kind of peachy tone, but it's also got a little bit of depth, a little bit of richness and darkness. Essentially, an autumn palette color never wants to feel too kind of fluffy, too light. It always wants to feel like it's got a bit of weight. I always think, imagine you're going to have to wear it with something like a rich chocolate brown, which is a real anchor color for the autumn palette. I actually love this version of powder pink for an autumn, so it's really adding quite a bit of depth, quite a bit of warmth to the color. It's going to work for so many more autumns, but it's still kind of nodding to that powder pink trend. It's going to work brilliantly, as I said, with chocolate brown, but also with things like olive green and kind of light tans and camel colors. It's just going to look so effortless with all of those really gorgeous, warm neutrals. Okay, so the word powder pink is not necessarily associated with the winter palette. It is a palette full of really crisp, clear, zingy colors. And it might not feel like a natural home for this pastel, quite pretty trend, but when you take your powder pink into a really cool, really icy, I really think of it as like a barely there shade, then this is where powder pink absolutely sings in the winter palette. It creates this amazing high contrast alternative to bright, sharp white for winters. You can pair it with all the kind of strongest, darkest winter colors like jet black, inky navy, it's going to work amazingly with. But you could also go again into last season's burgundy shades. You can pair it with really deep pine greens, but also with winter's bold jewel bright tones. So imagine this like paired with a real fuchsia pink for proper like full-on Barbie core, or you can go into like jewel bright blues and greens for a really bold summertime look. There are endless variations of powder pink, so I've linked down below to the category on the website where you can go to browse all of them, and I've also linked all the individual products that I've talked about here today.